Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome back to school. My name is City Councilor Brad Bradford, and it is fantastic to have you here in East York at George Webster to welcome students back to school. This is always a very exciting and anxious time of year for folks, but we have beautiful weather, and it's great to have you out here in East York. Anyone who watches the work of City Council, the work that my colleagues and I are doing, knows just how important road safety is to our communities. You can't talk to families, you can't talk to seniors without having a conversation about how traffic moves through our streets, concerns about safety, and making sure we can get from A to B and do so in a safe manner. And we're very excited to be here this morning, of course, with my colleagues to talk about the work that's taking place here to make our streets safer. Right here on Chapman, we have introduced new safety measures reflective of our school safety zones that will make it safer for children coming to school. And that is, of course, very much top of mind this year. Right after this meeting, we will be down at Community Council moving 20 different motions to make streets in Beaches East York safer. And it's great to come out here and see that work taking place right here on the street. So with that, I am going to turn it over to our Mayor, John Tory, who has been a champion for road safety, Vision Zero. And I know this is a top priority for him, certainly top of mind for parents this morning. And we'll turn it over to our Mayor. Thank you very much.
Well, Brad, good morning, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm very pleased to be here with Councillor Brad Bradford. We're in his ward today at George Webster Park here and at the school, and also with my colleague, Councillor Jennifer McKelvey, who is the chair of the Infrastructure and Environment Committee and has responsibility for a number of these areas that have to do with the work we are doing under Vision Zero and on the road safety for kids and for people. Superintendent Baptiste in particular, with the support of Chief Raymer. If you look at the things that have been done to reestablish the Vision Zero Enforcement Unit and apply some additional effort to making sure we keep kids and everybody else safe across the city, they've really been terrific partners for us, as has the school board been a good partner. Michelle Arts, the trustee, is here with us. I'm pleased to have her here. And Barbara Gray, of course, is with us this morning. She leads the public service team that also do a great job at moving us forward on road safety. You know, back to school day is a difficult day. It's a happy day. It's a special day. I know from talking to members of my own family, my grandchildren and my children, that there's lots of different stresses and sources of happiness that come from back to school day. And that is the day today for the majority of families within the sound of my voice. And that is because of the excitement of going back to school, but it's also because of a bit of apprehension this year with COVID and some of the special concerns that people have about that, but always about safety on the roads. Because if we're being honest, in the summer, it's one less thing to focus on quite as much, because in some of these school zones, the kids just aren't at school. And so it is something that you get used to, a circumstance in which there aren't kids on the sidewalk going to school in the morning, coming home in the afternoon, and so on. And it is always important for us on this day to remind people of the fact that safety must come first. And this year, there's two different kinds of safety we've been concerned about: safety when it comes to health, but also safety when it comes to the roads. Pandemic or not, this is something that we have to worry about each and every year, each and every day. And it starts with people who are driving cars and driving other vehicles, because in the end, they are in powerful vehicles that can hurt people, and they have to take extra care every single day of the year, whether it's summer vacation or not, to make sure that we keep people safe who are not in cars, who are walking or who are cycling. We have all been working very well together, whether it be the school board, the City of Toronto itself, the police service, public health, everybody in our communities, to make sure that safety is placed first for kids and for the families that are in these neighborhoods right across the city. So the return to school does mean increased traffic, and it does mean a higher number of people walking or cycling, especially in school zones and in community safety zones across the city. And so we've been taking action in order to make sure we do everything we can as a city to keep people safe through the city's Vision Zero Road Safety Plan. And this is something that has been meant to take us to zero in terms of the number of deaths and serious injuries resulting from collisions that happen on our roads. We have taken a number of measures already, and I want to just mention the things that we are doing at present to, and it is having a positive impact to make sure we keep our roads safer and keep people safer. Number one, 50 automated speed enforcement cameras that are installed near schools and in community safety zones. As you know, they've been installed over the last year or so. They have been moved, as is the intention to move them so that we can be monitoring people's behavior, but also influencing in a positive way their behavior in different parts of the city. And we know one simple fact: when these cameras go up, driver speeds go down. We know that preliminary data from the first year of speed cameras shows an increase in compliance and reduced speeding when these cameras are in place. This enforcement program helps to protect students by enhancing road safety, reducing speeding, and by raising public awareness about the need to slow down in the school zones across the city. Secondly, the installation of school safety zones, which are designated stretches of a roadway that include additional safety signage, improved pavement markings, flashing beacons, among other things. School safety zones also include watch your speed signs, speed display signs, which tell oncoming drivers the speed at which they're actually driving real time. And we know, again, these signs help to convince drivers or bring to their attention the fact that they have to slow down. Transportation staff work to install the new school safety zone here today ahead of the beginning of the school year. So far, to bring you up to date, we've installed 339 school safety zones around the city, and staff will be working to install an additional 63 before the end of this year. Thirdly, our school crossing guard program is a very successful one. The city took responsibility for it from the police a couple of years ago, and this, of course, is meant to make sure that children and their families can cross the street safely near their school or on their way to school. 765 school crossing guards are placed in intersections across the city to remind drivers of the presence of little pedestrians and larger ones, but to keep everybody safe. That's the main objective. All of our school crossing guards and supervisory staff have also undergone COVID-19 health and safety training at the same time. I want to say thank you to those school crossing guards. I know many families in neighborhoods across the city thank them each and every day for doing the job they do to keep our kids safe. But I want to say thank you on behalf of everybody in the city of Toronto to all of those crossing guards for the good work that they do for us. Fourthly, there are also 682 intersections equipped with pedestrian head start signals. I think probably pretty much all of the people watching and listening today have experienced these signals. Pedestrians, as the name would suggest, a head start on getting out into the intersection before cars can move. These signals help to provide children and all pedestrians with the opportunity to begin crossing the street and make them more visible in the intersection to drivers before a car can move. And I think this too has increased safety. That's why these are implemented as they have been in many cities across North America. Number 5, another measure that will undeniably improve road safety for everyone is the effort to reduce speed limits across the city. I think people are unaware of the full extent to which we have moved as a city government to bring about lower speed limits as appropriate, because there is no question, again, the evidence shows that higher speeds contribute to a higher risk of serious injury and fatality. And that is why we've been doing this as part of our speed management strategy to the following extent. The first phase of the strategy, from November to December of 2019, saw the speed limit on approximately 250 kilometers of major arterial roadways reduced by 10 kilometers per hour. The second phase, completed in 2020, saw the speed limit on approximately 250 kilometers of minor arterial and collector roadways reduced by 10 kilometers per hour. And the third phase, which began in earnest in July of this year, will see the speed limit on local roads and public lanes in Etobicoke, North York, and Scarborough reduced to 30 kilometers per hour. Hundreds of kilometers of our across the city where everyone, including drivers, have been made safer by reduced speed limits. This is a data-driven, multi-year effort to bring the rest of the city in line with a consistent 30 kilometer per hour speed limit on all local roads to curb speeding and minimize traffic-related fatalities and injuries. Sixthly, we've worked with the Toronto Police Service and under the leadership of Superintendent Baptiste, and also with the full support and active leadership of Chief Raymer to relaunch and make permanent the Vision Zero Traffic Enforcement Unit to make sure that in addition to all of the enforcement activities being carried out by frontline police officers each and every day, there is a special group of dedicated officers on our roads enforcing the rules of the roads. And that is on top of the enforcement activities carried out day in and day out by frontline police officers. And to make sure that these underlying messages around road safety are getting to everyone in our city, we have launched this week a citywide public education campaign to remind drivers to exercise caution, to stay alert, to obey the rules of the road all the time, but especially as students are returning to school this week. The campaign, on which Councillor McKelvey will provide more detail, helps to promote the educational component of our Vision Zero road safety plan. We have lots of work left to do on this. The objective is to get to zero deaths and serious injuries from these collisions involving pedestrians and cyclists. But there is reason to believe that the initiatives undertaken so far, which I've outlined this morning, are taking us in the right direction. All of these measures are helping, and we as a city are trying to do our part. But we need the help of everyone involved in order to get to Vision Zero, to get to that number of zero, which we can do. We're a major city with millions of people sharing our roadways and sidewalks, and we all need to act responsibly and considerately. I want to be clear, as I have consistently been in the past, to say that the most significant responsibility, the most important responsibility, rests with drivers of vehicles of all kinds. They have to take it very seriously, as they always should when they get behind the wheel of a vehicle. And so my plea to all drivers in school zones or anywhere else, because we've seen from the speed enforcement cameras that people are speeding in very large numbers across the city. And I would say to each and every person that is driving a vehicle anywhere in the city at any time, please slow down. Please obey the speed limits. They are put there for a reason, to take account of the safety needs and requirements of kids and families right across this city. The biggest responsibility must rest with you, the drivers of vehicles across the city, because you are in heavy, powerful vehicles that can move very quickly and can hurt people very badly. To pedestrians and to cyclists and to transit riders, I would ask you as well to please pay attention to and follow the rules of the road. Those rules apply to everyone, and it is a collective responsibility we have to make sure the city stays safe. So today's a special day. It's meant to be a joyous day when kids come back to school. They want to see their friends, especially after the nightmare of the pandemic all these months. They want to see their friends. They want to be back in class, most of them anyway. They want to be back with their teachers. The teachers are enthusiastic about doing this very important job that they do. But we have to make sure that we keep everybody safe. And I want to congratulate the students. You know, some of them are too young to understand why they would be congratulated. But, you know, a lot of them are old enough to know that the persistence they showed, the patience they showed, the experience they went through being without their friends and not being in the classroom was tough for them. It was tough for the parents too. But they got through it and they're back at school now. And our overriding objective in all of our COVID pandemic management and in things like this is to keep schools open and keep kids safe from illness and safe from safety threats. And I want to congratulate the parents too, because they not only made it through the summer, as they seem to do each and every year, but have made it through a very, very difficult period of months that really culminate today with the schools being reopened. And I can just assure them that as mayor, working with our pandemic management team, every effort we will be undertaking will be with a view, first and foremost, to keep the schools open, because it's such an important thing for the kids and for the families. I wish everybody a safe and successful school year, and I would now like to call on a person who's extremely hardworking in this area. And if you look at the mandate of the Infrastructure and Environment Committee, people like her, people like Brad Bradford have a very keen interest in these issues, an active interest. It isn't just about going to meetings and going through paperwork. They have an active interest in the safety of kids. And Councillor McKelvey will tell you a bit more about the public awareness campaign that we are embarking upon as a city to keep people safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Tory, for your strong commitment to Vision Zero and to the safety of our children. And likewise, it's great to be here with my colleague, Councillor Brad Bradford, who also is strongly committed to Vision Zero and the safety of all road users. I'm Jennifer McKelvey, Chair of the Infrastructure and Environment Committee and Councillor for Scarborough Rouge Park. Today, we mark the first day of school after a pandemic year spent off the roads. For many students, families, and school administrators, it's a time of excitement and growth, and most importantly, importantly, a sign that we're moving in the right direction. And it's not just the first day of school. Our top priority, City Council and staff alike, is that all students in the city walk, cycle, or drive to and from their schools every single day. Through our Vision Zero safety plan, we are committed to building a system and a culture where everyone can travel safely on our roads, especially our students. As Mayor Tory mentioned, we launched this week a citywide public education campaign to remind drivers to exercise caution, stay alert, and obey the rules of the road as traffic volumes continue to rise now that many students have returned to in-person learning. The campaign, which advances the education component of the city's Vision Zero road safety plan, features a series of messages that promote awareness of the rules of the road, especially as they relate to school safety. It includes messages on how to be safe around school buses, pedestrian crossovers, school zones, and intersections, and encourages residents to consider active transportation wherever possible. The campaign will run until October 31st, and is currently featured on transit shelters and in parking garages, in addition to radio and social media ads. I also want to take the opportunity to talk to you about another pilot project that aims to create more safe and walkable neighborhoods. The Active and Safe Routes to School pilot project aims to encourage children to use more forms of active transportation and to increase safety along designated walking and cycling routes to and from school. It includes road markings and the installation of signage and stencils on sidewalks to encourage children to walk, cycle, or wheel to school to reduce speeding and to increase safety. The pilot is made possible through financial support from Green Communities Canada and the Government of Ontario. The pilot is also funded by Bloomberg Philanthropies through its Partnership for Healthy Cities. This is a global network of cities committed to saving lives by preventing non-communicable diseases and injuries. The pilot project was initially launched in August 2018 at locations near 5 schools, and this year will expand to 4 more schools, including right here at George Webster Elementary School. I'd like to close by reminding everyone to help us keep our students safe today and every day for the rest of the school year. As my kids, your kids, and our neighbors' kids head back to school, please slow down. Please be alert and stay focused, and let's all enjoy a safe school year. Now I'd like to invite TDSB trustee Michelle Arts to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to say welcome back to school to all the CDSB students and families, and a safe and not just welcome back to school for a happy day, but also for a safe day. Being a safe school in a community requires not just the school itself or the school staff, it requires the city and the community. And I am very grateful to say that the city has been a fantastic partner for our school systems in helping us meet our sustainability goals and our active routes to school goals. In 2014, the TDSB adopted an active and safe routes to school charter to promote the sustainable active travel to school. But we can't do this by ourselves. We need parents, we need the city to help us, and other organizations. And I'm very grateful for the involvement of the city and Green Communities in the work that's being done at George Webster for active and safe routes to school. And I'm excited for more of those projects to roll out across the city. Welcome back. And now I'd like to turn it over to Superintendent Scott Baptist.
Good morning, and thank you, Mayor Tory, Councillors McKelvey and Councillor Bradford, and our friends from the Toronto District School Board, members of the media, and everyone for joining us this morning at George Webster Elementary School to kick off our September Back to School Safety Campaign. On behalf of Chief of Police James Raymer and the members of the Toronto Police Service, I want you to know we are committed to the safety of everyone in our community, especially our kids who are amongst the most vulnerable road users. Whether they're walking, cycling, or riding the school bus, it's critical that we all do our part to ensure they arrive at school safely and return home to their families. This past year and a half has been very challenging for all of us, Many of our road safety habits have changed as a result of fewer cars and people using our roads. With children returning to school and parents returning to work, our roads are once again getting very busy. We all need to pay extra attention. Drivers need to slow down. They need to put their phones down, and they need to drive cautiously. We all have an important role to play in making our roadways safer for our kids. Between today and September 17th, Toronto police officers will be around area schools to deliver targeted enforcement intended to address those behaviors that put the safety of our kids at risk. Our parking enforcement officers will also focus on making sure that designated pickup and drop-off zones around schools are safe. Drivers who park or stop illegally will be issued tickets to ensure that roads remain clear and safe for everyone. I need everyone to know forewarned is forearmed. Enforcement will be happening. Drivers who make the choice to speed, to drive aggressively, to use their phones while driving, all make our school zones unsafe, and they will be getting tickets. Nothing does a better job of slowing someone down or ensuring that they make a full stop than receiving a ticket. Excessive speed is the leading cause of our city's most serious collisions. Higher speeds increase the chance of a collision, and it also tend to increase the severity of the injuries associated with that collision. We are committed to collaborating with our city partners on Toronto's Vision Zero road safety plan by protecting our most vulnerable road users and building a safer community for all of us. As part of this commitment, the Toronto Police Service has implemented the Vision Zero enforcement team. This intelligence-led team of 18 officers is deployed full-time and exclusively focuses their enforcement efforts on the big four driving behaviors contributing to Toronto's most serious collisions. We are very proud of the members of this team. They were recently honored with the 2021 National Police Award for Traffic Safety by the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police. This year to date, the Vision Zero enforcement team has issued over 30,000 charges for offenses directly impacting community safety, including over 19,000 speeding charges and 109 stunt driving charges. The team got 2 stunt drivers this morning on their way to this press conference. If you'd like to speak with the officers, they're driving the unmarked vehicles and the marked vehicle behind me. In closing, please slow down. Please slow down. Put your phone away and obey the rules of the road. We cannot be in a rush, particularly in school zones. The safety of our children is a shared responsibility, and we all have a role to play in keeping Toronto's roads safe for all of us. Thank you again for coming today and for helping us get this important message out. I'll turn it over to Councillor Bradford. Thanks.
And I think the mayor will be available to take some questions now.
Any questions this morning?
all of those reasons. And now they push you onto the side streets. I know I use the app almost every time, and it took me through side streets to avoid a couple of areas. When you have that much traffic flow going on through the side streets, there's going to be a negative impact. We know that. How do we deal with that and not cause more
attention to the smaller side streets that do get increased traffic just because people try them as a means of avoiding more congested main streets, or also because applications on their phones take them there or in their cars. And so that's why we have, for example, lowered speed limits on many of those smaller roads to begin with. And secondly, we made it easier over the last year or so to have things like speed bumps and other kinds of speed reducing measures put into place on roads across the city. And so we're very conscious of the fact that, that there's a need to make sure that the enforcement and other kinds of activities designed to make people be slower and safer are as much needed on smaller streets as on bigger ones. And again, it comes back to human behavior. people will use those apps and use those streets because they know their way around, but they have to be careful on all the streets, especially on quieter, and then have more kids on them, walking on the sidewalk, playing, going to and from school. Any other questions about anything this morning? Going once? Going twice? Okay, thank you all very much. Yep. Stunt drive.
Yeah,
Yes,
for
yes. Oh, do that over there.
Maybe after
Yeah.
afterwards
Yeah.
we can have a
Okay.
chat like that.
Thanks.
Good job. 140.